going to be a short little flow. Get into the hips, move the body a bit. Perhaps get out of some of the stagnation that you've been feeling, being stuck at home, maybe out of your regular daily routine. So starting by coming into child's pose, letting the hips sink back towards the heels. Arms can reach out in front of you or back behind you as you just take a few moments to allow yourself to settle in. As you feel your breath move through your body, perhaps envisioning it sweeping the slate clean, allowing the next few moments of your day, of your life, wherever you may have landed on your mat today, just simply be about the present. What are you feeling in your toes, your knees, your hips, across the back and into the shoulders? Releasing as much judgment as possible and just noticing. From that place of clear awareness, starting to deepen the breath into those spaces that you don't always breathe into. Feeling the belly press towards thighs, towards floor, back body move towards the ceiling as the ribs expand out towards the side walls. Feeling your breath move 360 degrees as you feel yourself three-dimensionally in the space you're occupying. As your breath inspires you to do so, welcoming in some movement. Perhaps it's a side bend, right and left. Maybe there's a little bit of a gentle twist added as you pop up onto those right fingertips and allow that left arm to thread underneath, knowing that there's no have-tos. Just naturally, organically, how does your body want to start to awaken into this process? That asana practice. Side bending, maybe twisting to the other side. As you begin these gentle movements, noticing the information that you get from your body. Perhaps different things are told to you in movement that you found in stillness. Eventually, that exploration will bring you into your table, starting to move a bit through that cat-cow, side bends, barrel rolls. Again, whatever it is, it's calling to your body. Eventually that movement will take you into a nice still point at tabletop, drawing the belly up and in towards the spine, a slight narrowing through the pelvis, the rib cage, pulling everything to the midline, feeling that support, that internal hug from the inside. And then extending your right leg back behind you. Let the ball of your foot come down to the earth, toes curled under, and then press back through that right heel. Feel the sensation in the calf muscle, Achilles tendon, maybe to the bottom of the foot. Feeling that interconnectedness in your body. And then floating that right leg up and away from the floor. As you exhale, draw that right knee in towards your chest, curl and round, and then sweep your right knee open to the right. Extend it back behind you once again. Feel hamstring and glute kick in. Knee towards chest, curl and round. Sweep it out to the right. Extend it back behind you one more time. Again, draw knee towards chest. Circle it around out to the right. Extend it back behind you. Then circle the opposite direction, drawing the knee towards the shoulder, towards the midline, and then extend it back behind you. 2 more times in that direction, feeling the head of your femur bone, move around in that acetabulum, like a mortar and pestle. Get into all the little nooks and crannies. After that last round, start to pull the right knee towards that right shoulder. Hold for just a moment, squeeze and tight. And then as lightly and gently as you can, place your right foot outside of your right hand. Toes turning out at a bit of an angle. You can pop up out of the fingertips, adjust that left leg as you need to. And then like your cow pose, pull the chest through the arms, roll the shoulders back, lift and open through the chest. As you exhale, curl and round, right leg straightens. Just as much as it feels like it can. Toes maybe pull up towards the ceiling, round again through the spine, like cat pose. Start to move back and forth. As you come forward, feeling the length through the front of your body, from the top of that left foot all the way through the crown of your head. And as you curl and round, feel the length through the back side of the body, from the sole of your right foot to the crown of your head. Moving a couple more times back and forth. Again, your rhythm, your pace. As you draw that right leg straightish this next time, pause for a moment, breathe into those right hamstrings. And then start to come back in towards that lunge. Placing the left hand down towards the ground, start to reach the right hand up towards the sky, open up into a twist. Taking that right arm towards the wall back behind you, towards the floor, up towards the front of your mat and then to the ceiling. A couple big circles here. You can watch that hand flow. And then that hand can either fall alongside the body, maybe to the hip or back behind you. Rolling the shoulder back, breathing into that right shoulder. Keep strong through the core. Sweeping that right arm back up towards the ceiling, opposite direction this time. Taking the right hand onto that right thigh as you heel toe the foot a little bit narrower. So you're in a more traditional positioning with that leg. Hands can interlace or stack upon one another, curl and round, hollow out through the belly. Press down into that right thigh as you pull your spine back. Breathe into the front of that left hip. Hips start to sink. Right hand finds the right hip. Left arm sweeps up to the sky and you start to find a little side bend. Breathing into the front of that left hip. Right fingertips maybe start to travel down towards the floor. Sweeping both arms up towards the sky, maybe look up. Exhale, hands start to come back down to the floor. Pull that right leg straight. A couple of rounds flowing here. Legs a little bit more in that neutral position. More alignment anatomically with that pelvis, as opposed to the wide position that we were in before. So just notice how that changes things a little bit for you. One more time. And as we did earlier, as you draw the right leg back, pause. Notice, breathe. Starting to shift forward like we did earlier. This time, left hand comes down to the floor. As you start to twist, you're going to pick up that right foot. Draw the knee in towards your chest, strong through your core. Right heel finds the bottom or kicks back behind you, opening up through the front of that right thigh, hip flexors. Open it up like you're doing half moon on your left side. And then as you exhale, right hand comes down to the ground. Right leg crosses back behind you. The ball of the foot comes down to the ground. Pull that left hip back and turn perhaps to look towards that right foot. Breathing into the outer hips. Dropping that right knee down towards the earth. Sink the hips back towards the heels. Kind of like a modified child's pose meets that cow face pose. Again, breathing into those outer hips. Come all the way to sit down onto your bottom. Let your left knee pop up towards the ceiling. And you can always move your left foot towards the shin as opposed to the outside of the thigh. Left hand's going to come back behind you. You're going to be a little kitty wonky in your mat. It's okay. Right arm reaches up and then find your twist. Sit tall through the spine as you rotate and maybe look over that left shoulder. Starting to unwind the twist, shift back to face forward. Left foot's going to ground strongly into the earth as the right leg kicks all the way up towards the ceiling. Coming into a soft standing split. Bowing into that left leg, breathing deep into the back. And then starting to lift up, walk the hands to the top of your mat. Right foot still hovering, and as your hands find the top of your mat, you might have to kind of hop that left foot back. So you can level yourself off into a nice one-legged plank. Core again is super strong here as you shift forward and lower all the way down to the earth. Similar to what we did in that kneeling space earlier, left forearm comes in front of the chest, right knee bends, right hand falls back behind you to clip with catching a hold of the foot. Dragging that left forearm towards you, lift the chest. Breathe deep. Right hand finds the floor, knee stays bent. Left arm swims out to the left. Roll. Right foot comes back behind you, head softens to the earth as you breathe into the front of that left shoulder. Coming back to center, both hands come alongside the chest. Pressing into them very gently, hips up and back. Child's pose. Returning to where you started, noticing the changes you have created in your body. Simple breath, simple movement, and here we are. Different. Rising, finding a round or two of that cat-cow, coming into a nice neutral space. Resetting for the second side. Coming into a nice long spine. Grounding down into the hands and that right shin as you tuck the left toes. Press the ball of the foot into the earth and reach through that left heel. Crown of your head reaching forward, lengthening. Pulling in both directions but hugging everything to the midline still. From here, left heel floats. Knee towards the chest, curl and round, and then swing the leg out to the left and then back behind you. Extend, engage your hamstrings and glutes. Knee to nose, circle out to the side, and then back behind you. One more in this direction. Noticing perhaps how the hips feel a little different. And then switch directions. Knee goes towards shoulder first, then pulls in towards the midline, and then you extend the leg back behind you. Knee to shoulder, to midline, extend. One more time, find that circle. And then you'll pull that knee towards your shoulders. Squeeze it in, nice and tight. Step that left foot as lightly as you can to the outside of your left foot. Maybe turns at an angle. Again, you can adjust that right leg, scooching it back behind you perhaps just a bit, maybe popping up onto fingertips or grabbing blocks. Sink the hips, roll the shoulders back, open up the chest. Exhale, curl and round, pull that right leg straightish. Starting to flow back and forth, again, finding your rhythm and your pace with this movement. And know that that left foot can stay flat or toes can curl up towards the ceiling. That's up to you. Again, you're moving at your rhythm and your pace. Next time that left leg goes straightish, pause. Take a couple of breaths there. Starting to come into your lunge, taking the right hand down to the ground, sweeping that left hand up towards the sky. And then let it fall towards the floor behind you, towards the space in front of you, and then back up towards the ceiling, making a big circle. And again, you might watch your hand float. It's naturally going to rotate a little bit as the shoulder moves around in that socket. And in the next circle or two, that left hand is either, again, going to just fall alongside the body. Hand can come to the hip, or you can let that hand start to fall back behind you, wherever your shoulder feels appropriate. Opening the chest up, feeling that strength and that support from your center still. Just finding your space in your own body, knowing it doesn't have to look any particular way. Left hand starts to sweep back up towards the ceiling. And then as you unwind, you're going to take that left hand onto your left thigh. Heel to your left foot a little bit more to hips distance as your right hand comes up. Again, you can interlace or stack. Push down into your left thigh. Curl and hollow out your belly. Tuck your chin towards your chest. Press down and away through the leg, and as you sink into the hips and pull the belly back, some sensation might grow in the front of that right hip, into the belly, or maybe into your thigh. Left hand starts to come up towards the hip as you lift your chest. Right hand sweeps up and over as you find your side bend. Breathing into that right side body. Again, left fingertips might start to find the floor. Explore your space. Both arms come up towards the ceiling as you inhale. As you exhale, hands come down. Pull the hips back. The left leg lengthens out just a bit. Toes up towards the ceiling. Sink the hips, roll the shoulders back, open up through the chest. Curling around, draw back. Moving once again at your own rhythm and your own pace. No have-tos, no shoulds. Next time that left leg goes straightish, just pause for a moment. Your variation of this half splits. As you start to come back forward into your lunge, right hand plants to the earth. You start to roll to that right side, grab a hold of the left foot, knee points back behind you, open up through the chest. The heel can squeeze into the bottom, or you can push the foot back behind you. Either way is great. Where do you receive the most benefit? Open it up like you're doing half moon. Take an inhale. And then as you exhale, you're going to take your left hand down to the ground. Left toes are going to go over to the right so that the ball of your foot comes down to the ground. Pull the right hip back and look towards the left foot. A little spiraling of the inner thighs around one another. Dropping the left knee behind the right knee. Start to sink the hips back, moving into that cross between child's pose and Gomukhasana. So the hips can be hovering here. You're breathing into spaces that maybe haven't been touched for a while. So have patience. Sitting all the way down to the ground, you'll let that right knee pop up. Foot can be to the thigh or towards the shin. Right hand goes back behind you now as the left arm reaches up, and then find that twist. You can hug onto the right thigh, or you can hook your elbow to the outside. Let your gaze turn where it feels natural. Ring out. Turn to face forward once again. Weight shifts into that right foot. Left leg kicks all the way up to the sky, moving towards your standing splits. Now bowing in towards that right leg. Breathing deep. Keeping it maybe a little soft. Starting to walk forward, hands to the top of the mat, and then maybe right foot hops back just a bit as you find your one-legged plank. Left foot hovers if available. Hug the elbows in as you lower down to the earth. Chaturanga push-up. Bending into that left knee, right forearm comes in front of you. Reach back with the left hand, catching a hold of the foot, roll the left shoulder back. Active through the right forearm. Kind of dragging yourself in two different directions. Keeping a bend in the left knee, left hand finds the floor, right arm opens out to the right, and then roll, letting that left foot drop back behind you. Head softens to the earth. Breathing into the front of that right shoulder now. Coming back to center. Both legs extend back behind you. Hands alongside the bottom of the rib cage. Press to the tops of the feet. Little baby cobra. So really think about using the strength of the upper back muscles. Chest releases towards the floor. Tuck the toes. Lift the hips now. Finding your downward facing dog. Feel free to walk and paddle out as you need to. From this downward facing dog, once you find your stillness in it, take a nice full breath in and full breath out. Again, centering. And then reach your right leg up towards the sky. As you exhale, draw your knee towards your nose, similar to what we did in table, and then circle it out to the right, and then back behind you. Again, knee towards nose, shift forward, knowing that you can always skip, eliminate things if they're not feeling right for you today. After that third round, switch directions. Knee goes towards shoulder, towards midline, and then back behind you. Again, shoulder, midline, back behind you. One more big circle in that direction. And then take the knee towards the shoulder. Shift forward, hold. And then step your right foot towards the outside of your right hand. Turn your left foot flat. So you're kind of in a wide warrior two-ish stance. Walk both hands towards that left front corner of your mat. And you might go off your mat a bit as you sink the hips back behind you. Breathe. Good. Another breath into those hips. And then start to walk the hands back in. As the hands come back in, heel toe the right foot to wherever it feels like your warrior two-ish stance. Take your right forearm onto your right thigh. Sweep that left arm up and over, finding your side angle pose. And then similar to what we did again earlier, sweeping the hand down to the ground, forward, up. Making 3 big circles this time. And after your third circle, left hand is going to wrap behind your back. Come to the hip, or maybe just rest alongside the torso. Listen to your body. Taking a moment to breathe into that left shoulder once again. Lower body stays where it is. Sweep up and back with that right arm. Again, left hand can be wherever it wants to be. Maybe it stays exactly where it just was. Starting to straighten that right leg out. Breathe into your right ribs. And then come out and over your right leg, tipping into triangle. Once you're in triangle, start to sweep that left arm. This time bicep over ear. Rolling the left ribs back. Float the whole torso up. Reach back briefly. And then start to sink back into that right knee. As you do, windmill your left hand down to the ground. Pivot to the ball of that left foot. Right hand up to the sky. Option, of course, is stay right as you are, or pull that right knee in towards the chest. Drop the right foot back behind you. Lift the hips up towards the sky. Flow momentarily into a wild thing. Shifting yourself back forward. Right knee stays bent. Shift forward. Start to lower all the way down to the ground. Once you're down, left forearm comes in front of the chest. Reaching back. This time maybe palm facing out as you find that half bow. This time you'll unwind. Hands come alongside the chest, letting that right leg straighten out. Roll the shoulders back, maybe have a little larger expression in that cobra. Tuck the toes, lift the hips, up and back, downward facing dog. Left leg lifts up towards the sky. Knee towards nose, curl and round. Circle it out to the left, and then extend. 2 more in this direction. Knee to the side, up and back. Feel the strength of your core. And then you're going to go the opposite direction. First towards the shoulder, then to the midline, and then back behind you. Again, 2 more in this direction. And then pulling that left knee towards your shoulder, pause, hold. And then step the left foot lightly outside of your left hand. Foot might be at a bit of an angle. Right foot turns flat. Walk your hands towards the right front corner of your mat. Breathe into your hips. And then start to walk the hands back in. Heel toe that left foot in to more of your warrior two stance. Left forearm comes onto left thigh. And then you'll start to open it up into that side angle pose. And I'm just going to turn myself around now. So taking that right arm, sweeping it down, forward, and back. Giving yourself 3 big circles. Right forearm, once again, come alongside the body. You can take hand to hip, or you can start to wrap it back behind you. Breathing into the front of that right shoulder. And then keeping the lower body as it is, sweep up and back with that left arm. Breathing into variation of reverse warrior. Straightening that left leg out, reverse triangle. And then come out and over that left leg, find your triangle pose. Start to sweep that right arm up and over, this time maybe bicep over ear. Breathing through that right side body. Coming up, sweeping back. And then as you start to come around, bend into your left knee. Right hand finds the floor, left hand sweeps to the sky. You're on the ball of that right foot. Option to stay here, or left foot starts to come up. Knee to chest, really engage your core. Left foot drops back behind you, and then it's a little modified wild thing. Left hand comes down to the ground. Left knee stays bent as you lower all the way down to the earth. Right forearm comes in front of chest. Left hand reaches back, palm facing out. Breathe through the chest. From here, both hands come alongside the rib cage, finding maybe a little bit of, again, that bigger expression in your cobra, just where your spine feels good. Start to tuck your toes, curl around, lift, downward facing dog. Inhale, reach that right leg up towards the sky. As you exhale, take that right leg through, coming and setting up for your pigeon pose. Taking a moment to make any adjustments that you need. Rolling the shoulders back, lifting through your chest. This might be where your body wants to stay today. Maybe you start to bend into that left knee, experiment there. Perhaps you reach back with that left hand, catch a hold of the outside of the foot, or flip your palm to face outward like we were just playing with, holding here. Pressing the leg and the arm into one another just a bit. Breathing into the opening of the front of that left shoulder. Another breath where you are. And then allowing that left leg to gently come back down to the earth, folding your torso forward, coming into the sleeping variation of this pose. Know that you can always press pause, hang out here for as long as you'd like. Coming back up to sit, rocking the weight over to the right hip. Swing that left leg around. Like we did earlier, foot can be by the thigh or by the shin. Left hand goes back behind you. Right arm reaches up. Find your twist. Rotating that spine around your central axis. And then start to turn. You're going to take that right hand back, left hand back. Start to spin yourself around, facing the opposite way on your mat as you center yourself into that downward facing dog. Left leg goes up and back behind you. Take that left leg through, making your way towards your pigeon. Once again, you can stay where you are here, lifted through the chest, nice and grounded into those fingertips. Perhaps you start to bend into that right knee. A couple of breaths here. Maybe you reach back from the outside of the ankle or flipping your palm to face out. A little bit more opening perhaps there through the shoulder. Your variation within the space is always welcome. Gently releasing the right foot down to the ground without snapping. Both hands come in front of you, just lowering to the space where you feel something happening in that left hip, but nothing more than pressure perhaps in that left knee. Again, I welcome you to pause, hold this posture as long as you'd like. Starting to lift the torso up. Weight shift over to the left. Right leg then swings itself around. Once you've got your right leg in place, right hand goes back behind you. Left arm reaches up and you find your twist. Starting to turn towards your left. Left hand travels back behind you, followed by the right. You're going to unwind and spin. Step yourself into downward facing dog. And facing back towards quote-unquote regular side of your mat. From here, shift forward towards plank one time, maybe lowering and hovering in that chaturanga for a moment. And if up dog is something that speaks to you, go forward. Otherwise, cobra is still always an option. And then dropping the knees down to the ground, hips find the heels. Coming in full circle as you make your way into child's pose. This might be a space in which you feel as if you can rest. If not, allow yourself to transition, coming forward, flipping onto your back, finding that space, legs and arms extended out, finding stillness. Deep awareness, and perhaps a greater sense of peace. Feeling yourself reawaken in your body. Just from that simple vibration and hum of all the cells alive, awake, celebrating your existence. So you feel ready, again, any soft movements to reawaken. Making your way into the fetal position from here, pausing for just a moment, support of the earth. Top arm pressing the earth away as you rise. Come into a simple, comfortable seat, whatever that means for your body. Hands can rest in the lap or on top of the knees. Eyes to downcast or close. Sitting tall and proud in who you are. And to seal the practice, we too will celebrate your existence. Inhaling, sweeping the arms up and overhead. Exhale, hands to heart. Namaste.